Okay, so today we are going to talk about break statement. Uh, we use break statement in two ways. First of all, if you remember your previous program in switch, we were using the switch statement. We were using break statement there. Why were we using break statement? Because we needed to uh, we needed to uh, make the program stop at a certain case. So that's why we were using switch statement, break statement. If we do not use break statement after every case, then the program will make every case true. So that's why break is very important. That is one place. In the second place, when it is used, that if, for example, you are running a loop, it's a while loop or it's a for loop or any loop, you want to come out of it in the middle or at any point, you can do that by using a break statement, but you have to use the if condition. For example, you have a loop, a for loop, and that for loop is running from 1 to 100, and it is doing nothing but it is just displaying digits from 1 to 100. But you want it to stop at 50. So you would just say if I, which is the loop integer, doubles equal to 50, and then break. The loop will break at 50. The control will finish. The loop will stop. I mean, it will skip the remaining 50. It's not like it will then start again from 51. No, you have stopped it at 50. ओके, अब मैं जरूर में बताती हूँ. हमारे पास जो ब्रेक स्टेटमेंट है वो हम स्विच में यूज करते हैं ताकि हम बीच में प्रोग्राम, अगर हमने वो स्विच में यूज नहीं किया तो वो ऑटोमेटिकली तमाम केस स्टेटमेंट्स पे जाएगा. तो हम चाहते हैं कि ये इस केस जिस केस स्टेटमेंट जो केस स्टेटमेंट ट्रू हो जाए, इसके बाद ये प्रोग्राम के एंड पे चला जाए. तो उसके लिए हम ब्रेक यूज करते हैं ताकि प्रोग्राम तमाम केस स्टेटमेंट्स पर ना जाए, बल्कि सिर्फ उसी पर जाए जो ट्रू हो. उसके अलावा ब्रेक स्टेटमेंट फॉर लूप में यूज होता है या किसी भी लूप में. अगर आप एक लूप चला रहे हैं और आप चाहते हैं कि बीच में रुक जाए, तो बीच वाले नंबर के साथ आप इफ कंडीशन के थ्रू ब्रेक लगाए, हम उसको बीच में से ही हटा सकते हैं. हम उस लूप को बीच में रोक सकते हैं. ओके, नाउ लेट्स लुक एट आवर फर्स्ट लैब टास्क व्हिच इज वेरी सिंपल. We are going to write a program using the while loop. What we are going to do is we are just going to run the while loop from 1 to 100. And then we are going to stop the loop by using break statement at value 20. How can we stop this loop? After 20, it will stop working. It won't go to 21. So let's see what a break statement can do in loop. Okay, this is our program. Simply, we have an integer I, which we have started from 0. We have initialized it to 0. And then we are simply running a while loop. While I is less than or equal to 100. That means start from 0 and go to 100. When I is equal to 100, then stop. This is what the condition says. And run this block continuously for 100 times. And what you are going to do inside the block is display value of the number is in then I. So in the first iteration, I will be 0, then 1, then 2, then 3 because of this I plus plus. But before that, you have written an if statement here. If I doubles equal to 30, break, or any number you want. So it's asking this loop that at point 30 you have to stop. So it will stop at 30. It will display 30, but after it won't display anything. The loop is supposed to run till 100. So let's see how it works. And when it stops at 30, you will get a cout statement. The loop is broken. Let's see. See, it starts from 0. It starts from 0, but at 30 it stops and say the loop is broken. If I do not use the break statement, then you will see that it will run till 100. You see, it run till 100 and again the loop is broken. But only by break statement We can stop the loop at any time, at anywhere, by using the break statement. This is the benefit of break statement. But we not only have break statement, we also have a, this is the solution. We also have a continue statement. Now let's see what is a continue statement. Continue statement is only used in loops. Again, just like we use the break statement, we will use the continue statement within if condition. So if we say if I, here we said if I doubles equal to 30, break. If I say if I doubles equal to 30, continue, then it will stop at 30, it will skip 30, and then it will start again from 31. So continue do not stop the loop. Continue only skips that step of the loop. कंटिन्यू इस तरह करता है कि ये लूप को रोकता नहीं है, बल्कि ये उस खास पॉइंट को स्किप कराकर लूप को नेक्स्ट उस पार्टिकुलर आइट्रेशन को रोकता है, बाकी लूप को कंटिन्यू रखता है. दैट इज व्हाट कंटिन्यू डू. कंटिन्यू और ब्रेक अगर आप वर्ड मीनिंग देखें तो भी डिफरेंट है. वो एक है ब्रेक और ये है कंटिन्यू. सो कंटिन्यू मीन्स कीप ऑन डूइंग इट. तो ये सिर्फ उस एक खास स्टेप को स्किप करेगा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ आई आस्क यू कि मुझे वन से लेट्स से डिस्प्ले नंबर्स फ्रॉम 1 to 50, but do not display 25. So what are you going to do? You are going to run a loop from 1 to, let's say, 24, skip 25, and then run another loop from 26 to 50. Or you can simply use a continue statement. So let's see how continue works. We have another very small lab task for continue as well. We are going to display numbers from 0 to 50 and use the continue statement at 30, and see that what the continue statement does. Okay. The reason that okay, here we are just starting a loop, for loop for int I is equal to 0, I go to 50, I plus plus. But I am not writing the C out here, because you must know that the C++ program goes from top to bottom. If this C out is earlier than the if condition, then it will display 1 to 50. After displaying 1 to 50, then is if statement, then it will say that, oh, I just missed it. So you have to think in your brain that the compiler goes from up to down. It does not read the entire program and then execute it. It executes it from top to bottom. You cannot write a cout statement directly after the for loop, because it will then execute it and there is no need to write if condition. It's already displayed. The difference is here we haven't wrote it because I plus plus is below. यहाँ पर I plus plus बाद में है, तो ये इस पे पहले जाएगा. But in this program, I plus plus is already inside the for loop. So you have to take care that everything is happening inside the parenthesis. So you have to think about it. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पर हम क्या करें? If I double is equal to 30, continue, and then you are outing it. So let's see how this works. You can see that it skipped 30, 29, 31. It didn't till 50, but it skipped 30. So you can use the continue statement to skip a particular iteration of any loop, while loop or for loop or any other loop. ये समझ आ गई आप लोगों को? Okay, this is the solution. Achha, okay. Is there any problem in the loop? Also, these are the previous week's thing. You must have understood it by now. Okay. So let's go to do while loop. Now, you guys do understand that what is a loop, what is a while loop, what is a for loop, and then like these other loops, we also have a do while loop. Now, if you look at the syntax of a while loop, first the condition is evaluated. See, while, and the condition is just wrote after it, while I is less than or equal to 100. It means that start from 100 and then if it is less than or equal to 100, this is the condition. So first it will check the condition. Okay, start from 0 to 100. But in a do while loop, In a do while loop, statement inside do while gets executed first and then the condition is evaluated. This is the syntax of a do while loop. First you write do statement. So whatever is in the statement will run and then it will check the condition. So if the condition is true, then again it will keep on running. But if the condition is false, it will not run. But there is only one difference. Even if the condition is false, it will still run one time. Why? Because I told you earlier that the C++ program goes from top to bottom. So it already had got from do. It will execute this. अब मैं उर्दू में बताती हूँ देखिए सी प्लस प्लस हमेशा ऊपर से नीचे की तरफ जाता है एग्जीक्यूट करते वक्त ये उसकी आप कह सकते हैं कमजोरी समझ लीजिए कि जब जो डू वाइल पे जाता है तो वो पहले ऊपर से नीचे आ रहा था तो वो डू पे गुजर जाता है तो जो भी डू में होता है वो उसको एग्जीक्यूट एक बार कर लेता है उसके बाद कंडीशन चेक करता है वाइल तो अगर कंडीशन ट्रू है तो फिर तो वो दोबारा जाएगा और जितनी एट्रिशन आपने लिखी है लेकिन अगर कंडीशन फॉल्स है तो उसके बावजूद एक बार वो जा चुका होता है यानी कि एक बार उसने ये डू काम कर लिया होता है इवन अगर कंडीशन फॉल्स भी है जो कि हम नहीं चाहते ये इस डू और लूप की एक बहुत बड़ी कमी है इट्स अ वेरी शॉर्ट कमी even if the condition is false it will still run once because it already has got from the do statement. Okay, let's talk about our first lab task. We are going to display integers from 1 to 10 using the do while loop. Now, this is very easy. The purpose is to understand do while loop. Also, do while loop is rarely used. Okay. Now here I have again used a variable I starting from 1 because here it says that display it from 1 to 10. Now do the out I plus plus. Now this statement inside the do will keep on firing. Here I am saying let's say I is less than or equal to 10. First it will go from this and then it will check yes I is actually equal to 1. So if it can run till 10, that's what it's going to. You see, you are getting numbers from 1 to 10. But what if the condition is not true? What if we say while I is less than or equal to 0, I is equal to 1. And here we are saying I is less than or equal to 0. That means it won't run because I's value is 1. And you are telling it to run up to 0. That means the condition is false. You are telling the compiler to run up till I becomes 0. Well, I is already 1. So that means the condition is false. Let's see how it will work. It will only display 1. So you can see that the first iteration is done. After the first iteration, the compiler sees that the while condition is actually false. So it stops running, but still you have 1 displayed. उसूलन तो उसको 1 भी नहीं डिस्प्ले करना चाहिए था कंडीशन ही फॉल्स है लेकिन ये डू वाइल लूप makes at least 1 iteration. That's what I was telling you that even if the condition is false, it will still run 1 time because compiler works from top to bottom. So in some programs, maybe we need this working of do while loop, but it depends.
मैम ये डू के बाद सी आउट
देखिए इस लूप की कंटेक्स्ट हाँ ये डू है ये डू का ब्लॉक है ठीक है
डू के
डू
बाद
का
ये सी आउट ये वाला दूसरा ये डू के बाद जो सेंटेंस है इसको समझाओ मैम एक
अच्छा
इसका क्या मतलब है
देखिए डू के बाद सी आउट नहीं डू के बाद जो भी कुछ होगा वो कंटिन्यूअसली होता जाएगा जैसे हमने इस लूप में देखा कि वाइल के बाद इन ब्लॉक्स में जो था वो कंटिन्यूअसली हुआ 30 बार लेकिन 30 पर रुक गया यहाँ पर बी फॉर के बाद इन ब्लॉक्स में जो होगा वो कंटिन्यूअसली होता जाएगा इस तरह यहाँ पर डू के बाद जो कुछ भी है वो कंटिन्यूअसली होता जाएगा अगर हमारी कंडीशन ट्रू है तो डू के बाद हमने सिर्फ ये लिखा है ब्लॉक्स के अंदर कि आई को डिस्प्ले कर दो यानी कि सी आउट आई एंड बैक स्लैश एन मींस गो टू द नेक्स्ट लाइन आप यू कैन सिंपली राइट एंड लाइन एज वेल और फिर आई प्लस प्लस कर दो सो सी आउट पे क्या होगा आई की वैल्यू क्या है 1 है फिर आपने यहाँ पे क्या लिखा आई प्लस प्लस इसको 2 करो अगर इसको मैं लेट से 10 कर दूं इसको 2 करो फिर ये आएगा और अपनी कंडीशन देखेगा यस यस द कंडीशन इज ट्रू बिकॉज आई तो 1 है और ये मुझे कह रहे कि जब तक आई 10 ना हो जाए ये क्योंकि आई प्लस प्लस हो गया तो आई की क्या वैल्यू हो गई 2, दोबारा ऊपर आएगा 2 डिस्प्ले करेगा, ये फिर 3 हो गया एंड सो ऑन, इट विल रन टिल 10। तो
एन
डू
क्या है
के बाद
मैम इसमें?
10 तो मैंने इसमें कहा है कि
एन
10
एन
तक
एन
जाओ। एंड अच्छा
एन क्या? जी
ये
मैम। जी
यहाँ
मैम।
पे ऐसे भी लिख सकते हैं। ये कह रहा है कि अगर मैं ये ना लिखूं तो अभी मैं आपको बताती हूँ कि इसका क्या ड्रॉबैक है इसके बगैर। ये सारा एक ही लाइन पे आ गया ना 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10। तो या तो आप बैक स्लैश एन लिखे या इस तरह लिखे ENDL। इसका मतलब है कि हर आइट्रेशन के बाद दूसरी लाइन पे जाओ। देखें अब इस तरह आ गया। तो ये इस तरह जरा नीट होता है तो इसलिए हम एंड लाइन लगाते हैं कि हर एक डिजिट दूसरी लाइन पर आए। समझ आ गई इसकी?
जी मैम। जी।
अच्छा ठीक है। अच्छा ओके। तो दिस कंटिन्यू एंड ब्रेक का सॉरी डू व्हाइल का, let's go to the next lab task. The first one was easy. This is a solution of the lab task. The second one is a bit better than the first one. In this program, what we are going to do is we are going to ask the user for a number, and whatever number the user enters, for example, he enters 5, 6, 7, we are going to display the table of that number. ठीक है? ये कि अगर उसने 2 इंटर किया so we will display 2 into 1 is equal to 2, 2 into 2 is equal to 4 and up to 10. So how are we supposed to do this program? Let's see. By using do while. Also, you can do this program by using any loop, but we just want to do an example of do while to understand the working of do while. So we have declared an integer a and we are asking the user enter any number. हमने एक variable declare किया a और user से कह रहे हैं कि कोई number enter करो and the number which the user enters will go to a. That's why I'm writing C in a. Now I have started I from 1. Remember, in multiplication, you will always start the integer from 1. This is a rule in multiplication. So a table is actually multiplication. So I will start from 1. Now, this is the only line that can make a table work. So do. Now, this thing will keep on happening again and again. What? The out A. Whatever is A, let's say the user entered 7. So as it is A, it means you will get a 7. Then you will get a steric because it is written inside the commas, but the commas won't be displayed. It will simply display star and then I. Now in the first iteration I is 1, so you will get 7 into 1 is equal to will be also as it is displayed, and then at the output you are doing the command. In the command you are telling the compiler to just multiply a with I. This is a simple command which you are doing at the output and then end line and then I plus plus. So now here I was 1. In the second iteration, I will become 2. Then a will be multiplied with 2 and here a into 2. Similarly, it will go to 10. The while say I is less than or equal to 10, if you want to write a table of 20 up to 20, let's say to 10 is 20 and then to 20s are, you can easily just change this condition from I 10 to 20 and return 0. So let's see how this works. Enter any number. Let's say I want to see the table of 4. 4 goes to A and then you can see you get the table of 4. But it is up to 10. It is up to 10 because यहाँ पर आप लोगों ने इसको condition दी है while I is less than equal to 10. 10 तक जाओ. Now let's see. I will make it 20. Okay. So you will see ये 20 तक जाएगा. 4 420 is 80. So it went up to 20 by just the changing the while condition. अब समझ आ गई आपको? It's a very interesting kind of, although it's a very easy lab task, but it's a good lab task. By just this simple line, you can write a table. But again, if you remember from your previous class, ये loop के बगैर नामुमकिन है क्योंकि आप 10 बार सी आउट लिखेंगे, so it will be difficult. So you just write a loop, and you can easily make a table of any digit. Okay, this was our do while. यहाँ पे खत्म हो जाता है. Now let's go to our functions, which are more important than do while loop. Now, before functions, let me tell you one thing. Function is a very integral part of programming, C++ programming. It's like you have started the C++ programming, the real C++ programming now. Before going to functions, let me tell you one thing. Function is just like आप लोगों ने block लिखा, you wrote a block, and you can on it will only run when you call it if you need it. For example, in the previous table, in the previous example, we have wrote a table. This is a table. If you want this table, for example, you are a software engineer, let's suppose, and you have to write a huge program that will do many things. Now, whenever you need a table, you cannot just write this entire program again. This will cause a lot of trouble for you, or a lot of time will be wasted. So, what you guys are going to do is you are going to make a function, and whenever you need the table, you will just call that function, and that function will automatically display the table. So, again, what is function? Let's see. We see data is passed to function, and that data is known as parameters, and even in some places it is known as arguments, so it's the same thing. It is used for reusing code. Again, reusing code means that आपको बार बार कोड लिखने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. You don't need to write the code again and again. You just write it once, and then whenever you need it, you will call it. That's how we use a function. For example, if you see in your calculator, you have a function plus, minus, multiply. So it's already built in inside the calculator, and whenever you need to add something, you just click the plus. Similarly, you just click the minus. So it's already built in. If you remember from our previous class, I told you about set precision. It's also a function, but it's already built in. It's put it inside the compiler by the makers of this program of this language. But if you need a Okay. But if you need a certain function of your own, you can make it. For example, just like the table one, if you need a function that makes a table, you can easily make it. Although you made this table inside a program, but you can use a function. अच्छा, let me say it in Urdu as well. अगर आपको लेट से कोई बड़ा प्रोग्राम लिखना हो और उसमें बहुत सी चीजें आपको चाहिए हो, तो आप बहुत आसानी के साथ एक फंक्शन बनाएं, और जब भी आपको उस एक प्रोसेस की जरूरत पड़े, लेट से इंटीजर्स को ऐड करना हो, मल्टीप्लाई करना, फॉर एग्जांपल फैक्टोरियल को ले ले, तो आप सिर्फ उस फंक्शन को कॉल करें, बजाय ये कि आप वो पूरा प्रोसेस फैक्टोरियल का दोबारा लिखें. वो फंक्शन आपका स्टोर होगा आपके प्रोग्राम में, तो आप उसको सिर्फ कॉल करें. लेकिन जब आप उसको कॉल करेंगे तो आप उसको ऐसे तो नहीं कॉल कर सकते कि फंक्शन दिस. आपने उसको कुछ भेजना है. वो फंक्शन जो काम करता है, जिस चीज पर वो, जैसे कि मैंने एक फंक्शन बनाया है, उसका काम है फैक्टोरियल निकालना. जो मैं उसे कॉल करूंगी तो मैं उसे नंबर भी भेजूंगी 5 इनसाइड, जिसको हम पैरामीटर्स कह रहे हैं कि फंक्शन को का नाम लिखूंगी और 5 भेजूंगी. फंक्शन ऑटोमेटिकली उस 5 का फैक्टोरियल मुझे भेज देगा. ये ऐसे होता है. अब now finding out the factorial of 5 is not actually something out of the block. It is something like you already know. Remember one thing, functions is not some new logic. Just like, we understood loops was something new, if statement was something new. In order to understand program, function is not some logic. Function is just a way to do programming. It's just a different way. And as I give this example in every section, for example, you need something in your class, or there is a problem in your class, and you went to the chairman and you ask him to solve that problem. The chairman says that you do not say this to me like this. You go and write an application, you sign it from all of your class fellows, and you sign it from your coordinator or your teacher, and then you bring it to me. Again, you did the same thing. If you are saying it to him directly, or if you are saying it to him through application, it's the same thing. बात तो एक ही है ना, आपने उसे मुंह से कहा है, आपने उसको कागज पे लिख के दिया, बट द वे इज डिफरेंट. In one way, you are doing it by your direct connection, and in the other way you are doing it through proper channel. That's the only difference. The work is the same. If the chairman takes the action, it's the same thing. You will get the same output, but the process is different. Same is function. Functions are not some new logic, but by functions you would just learn another way of programming, how you do programming. So let's see the syntax of function. When you write a function, here you write a return value. return value means that what is the function returning? What is it sending back to the program? For example, if you are using a function of factorial, so you definitely are going to write here int because the function returns an integer type. It returns the factorial, and the factorial is always in kind of integer, it's not in points. So you will write int. And whatever is the name, for example, it's a factorial, so I will write it factorial. So int factorial. Parameter list. Now in parameter list, you will write the names of those variables which it requires. Now remember one thing, you are not going to write int a, int b. No, you are only going to write int. Why? Because this function, this factorial only needs one variable, and it will convert this variable into its factorial. So here you will only write int, whatever is the name. So we will understand it better by our real program. Again, I have wrote it here, the same thing which I told you. Okay, what is return type, what is function name. Now another thing in return type, if this function does not return anything, I mean it does not send any value back, value, remember, any value to the program, we just write void. Void means that it does not send anything back, it just do something, but it's not sending any value back. But that it does not mean that this program doesn't do anything, this function doesn't do. अगर आपने word लिखा है इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि कुछ कर नहीं रहा, इसका मतलब ये कि ये मेन को कोई वैल्यू नहीं भेज रहा, दैट्स द ओनली मीनिंग ऑफ इट, कोई वैल्यू रिटर्न नहीं कर रहा मेन को, इस वजह से हम लोग यहाँ पे void लिखते हैं. Void, if you look at the word meaning of void, it means nothing, so simply you will write void. Now let's talk about function declaration. Function declaration means you are saying that I am using this function. So function declaration is always above main. It is also called function prototype. Function definition is the body of the function. For example, the factorial function. So what was in the factorial? Factorial, actually we multiply with I with every number and then increment it by using a for loop. So the body, the definition will have all the that for loop and that variables. यानी कि जहां पर इसने बताना है कि वो how am I supposed to do this program. And function call is actually when you are calling the function, when you need the function. For example, you need the factorial, so you call the function. Function call is done by just writing the name of the function, and inside parentheses you write the data that you are sending to the function. Let's look at our lab task, we will understand it better. Now it asks you to write a function. It has also told you a function should have this name, integer power. You can give it any other name, but it's in the question that give it this name. And what that function is going to do, it's going to return you the value of base raised to the power x. For example, you send 3 and 4, 3 comma 4, it should send you 3 raised to the power 3, 3 raised to the power 4. For example, if you send it 3, 3, it should give you 3 raised to the power 3, which is actually 27. So that's how this this is like you have to easily understand. For example, if I ask you that make a function that gives you uh, the exponent, then this is actually that same program. So let's see how we are going to perform this function. अब देखें इस फंक्शन में वो आपसे कह रहे हैं कि ये फंक्शन का नाम है, और आपने अगर लेट्स से 3 पहले इंटर किया और 4 उसके बाद इंटर किया, पहले बेस इंटर किया फिर एक्सपोनेंट, और ये दोनों आप उस फंक्शन को भेजेंगे तो फंक्शन आपको रिटर्न करे 3 रेज टू द पावर 4 की जो वैल्यू है, तो आप ऐसा प्रोग्राम बनाए. सो लेट्स सी हाउ वी आर गोइंग टू मेक दिस प्रोग्राम. And remember, functions are very important. Okay, now we used to skip this part in the previous program, but here we cannot skip this part. Before main, what have I wrote? Int integer power int int. Int is the return type. This function will return some value which will be in integers. This is the name of the function, and here I have just wrote int int. Int int means that if you look at the question, it only requires two values, one the base and the other the exponent, but both of them would be sent in form of integers. So I'm only writing int int, which means that it will take two integer type values, but there is no need to write the name of the variables. For example, there is no need to write int a or int b. Even if you write those, it will still ignore it. The compiler does not care about your names of variables at this stage. You are only telling the compiler here before main that I am using a program that is integer power. That's what you are telling the compiler. And you have to write a semicolon here. The purpose of function prototype is to tell the compiler, because I told you let's do it the program. Now you will start the main. I have two variables, exponent and base. Let's ask the user, enter the base and then next. तो user अब क्या करेगा? पहले base enter करेगा और फिर exponent, because आप लोगों ने cin ऐसे लिखा है. You can ask the user by two different cout statements. First you ask enter the base, put it into base, then you ask enter the exponent and then put it into the exponent. But we are just doing it in one line. So first you will get the base and then the exponent. Now the next step is in the cout you are displaying base. Let's say the user wants you to answer him 3 raised to the power 3. So 3 will be displayed and then to the power of and then 3 is. Now what you are going to do is, yeah, here I have declared another variable int answer. I could also declare answer here, but this was actually a last step. And then I'm asking the compiler to go to this function integer power, and I'm sending it base and exponent. What happening here is that I'm calling this function. This is the function call, and here I'm saying that whatever is the return of the function call, put it in answer. This is the meaning of this statement. So it will put it in answer, and then I'm displaying answer variable. So this is after this. This is the function call. So the function call only has the name and these two values. We are calling the function and we are sending him base and exponent. And then we are displaying the answer. But let's see how are we going to do the function. Now the program is finished here. But after, at the end of the program, we are going to write, this is now called the function definition. Here there is no semicolon. We say int integer power, again the same name of the function. This is the return type. Here inside the parentheses, we are going to write the name of the variables. Why? Int b. The reason that I am giving it b and e is because you would easily say that the base value will come to int b, the exponent will come to e. You cannot again name it base and exponent. It will give you error. You have to give it different names. But the reason b and e is because easily you can understand. So when integer power sends base and exponent, they both will come here. Base will come here and exponent will come here. They work sequentially. First is base, then exponent, then here base will come here and exponent will come here. Now inside the function, what I am writing, int product is equal to 1. Another variable, and I am starting it from 1. Why? Because again it is multiplication. And I am running a for loop. What am I doing? Start the for loop from 1 to e. Let's say it was 3 raised to the power 3. It will start from 1 and go to 3. And what do I do? Multiply product with b. What is product? 1. 1 into 3. We will get 3 here. Let's say. In the first iteration, 1 into 3 is equal to 3. So 3 will be stored inside product. Now when I becomes 2, well, because the for loop, so it's already going to be 2. Again, as less than equal to t, product into b. What is product? Product पे क्या value पड़ी थी? 3. So let's multiply product into b. And what was b? The base which the user sent. It was 3. What is 3 into 3? 9. Now when I is equal to 3, again multiply product with b. What was the product? 9. What was base? 3. What is it? 27. Okay. So we got like, base is 3 and e is 3. This is what is happening here. So here the statement says return product outside the loop. Return product. Where will the product go? Where the function call is. The function call says integer power base exponent is equal to answer. So the product will be stored in answer. That's how it works. If you just simply display, for example, let me show you. let's run this and then I will show you how. Enter the base and then the exponent. Let's say 3 is the base, enter, and 3 is the exponent. You will get 27. You should get 27. See, 3 to the power of 3 is 27. So what happening is that product is getting stored in answer. Why? Because here you are saying function call, and whatever is the answer, put it in here. You can simply do it like this as well. आप इसको simply display भी कर सकते हैं like this. Rather than doing this entire step, you can just simply display it as well. Yes. It will just whatever is returned here would be displayed because you are displaying the function call. 3 raised to the power 3. The same thing is happening. But the previous process was kind of a better way to write it. Now this function, we are writing int here because this function has a return type. Here we say return product and the product is in form of integer. Now another thing, you remember I told you that the compiler works from top to bottom. If you do not write the prototype here, this is called the function prototype. Here, when the program comes from up to down, when it comes here, it will say what is integer power. It will give you an error. Why? Because the definition is after the main. इनके main के end में definition लिखी है. And it goes from up to down. It will stop at that point. It will say it is error. But if you write the prototype here, then it will know that, oh, actually I'm going to encounter a program in a function that is this name. That's why we write the prototype here. Now, if you do not want to write the prototype here, you can. You just put this entire definition, this entire body of the function above main. Then there is no need to write this because the purpose of writing the prototype is to tell the program that I am going to use a function. But if you are already putting the function above main, then there is no need to write the prototype. But it looks a bit unneat. It looks, ambiguous. That's why we we write the definition at the end of the program. हम definition को program के end में इसलिए लिखते हैं ताकि ये जरा neat लगे. अगर हम इस पूरी definition को ये जो हमने जितनी भी body है function की मेन के ऊपर लिख लें तो फिर प्रोटोटाइप की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी क्यों क्योंकि कंपाइलर टॉप से नीचे की तरफ आता है जो टॉप से नीचे की तरफ आते हुए जब वो देखेगा पूरी बॉडी उसके सामने आएगी फंक्शन की तो फिर उसको प्रोटोटाइप देने की कोई जरूरत ही नहीं है लेकिन ये चूंकि नीट नहीं लगता और थोड़ा सा कुछ लोगों को एम्बिगुअस सा लगता है तो इस वजह से हम यहाँ पर प्रोटोटाइप पहले लिखते हैं ताकि हम कंपाइलर को स्टार्ट से ही बता सके कि हम एक प्रोग्राम इस प्रोग्राम में एक फंक्शन इस्तेमाल होगा जिसका ये नाम है अगर हम ये ना लिखें तो देखिए ये इसी स्टेप पर लेट्स लेट्स सी इट ये इधर ही आपको एरर देगा कि इसको ये नहीं पता कि ये क्या चीज है और इसी लाइन पे एरर देगा लेट्स सी देखिए इसने इसी लाइन पे एरर दिया इसने आपसे क्या कहा आई डोंट नो व्हाट इज इंटीजर पावर ऑल्सो यहाँ पे नीचे हमने लिखा हुआ है बट इट गोज फ्रॉम टॉप टू बॉटम तो इसी लाइन पर स्टक हो गया दैट्स वाई हमने स्टार्ट में इसको बता दिया कि एक प्रोग्राम आएगा जिसका ये नाम है इट वर्क्स ओके now let's go to our second lab task. Here I've explained it as well. Now the second lab task is also very easy. If you guys remember from our previous classes in the university, that we did perform a program in which, let's say I enter a number and the program tells me that it is even or odd. Now how do I find if this is even or odd? We used if function, if statement. How? If let's say I have even and odd integer, if even number is 2, 4, 6, 8, every even number, if you divide it by 2, the remainder will be 0. Why? Because the even number is completely divided by 2. This is the definition of even. So we use the if condition if the number modulus 2 doubles equal to 0 because the remainder should be 0. That means it's a even number. Else it's a odd number. So we know the logic. But here it says okay, you should take like a series of numbers like 5-6 number ले ले आप user से ठीक है you should take 5 or 6 numbers and the moment you are taking the numbers you just display at the same time this is even this is odd this is even this is odd So let's see how we are going to perform this experiment. Now in this task, there was another variable bold, but it was a bit confusing, so I removed it and we will do it simply. Because last time I did talk with sir and sir says that yes, it's fine if you remove the bold. It was just confusing and I used this variable. Now the name of the function is even, but it is not returning anything. It is only returning its even or inside the function. Let's see why have I written void here. यहाँ पे मैंने void क्यों लिखे भी हमें पता चल जाएगा. But it only needs one variable. We are only sending one variable to this function and asking it if it's odd or even. So there is no need to write two or three. You already know. Even if you do not know in the beginning, you can just write one variable and then during the program you can change. Let's say write two or three here, and then let's start our main. Now here I have declared a variable integer x, and in the program it says take a series of numbers, input a series of integers. So let's say we will only take five numbers, start from 1 to 5, and inside the for block I'm asking the user enter an integer. The user will enter the integer, it will go to x. Now this process will repeat 5 times. And inside the function I'm calling the function, inside the for loop I'm calling the function. So we are going to call this function 5 times as well, whatever is written inside these blocks, even x. Now it is calling the function and the program is finished here. Everything would be on the function. So what is the function doing? This is the definition of the function. Void even. Int even is the name of the function. It does not return anything. Int. Now a will get x, x will come into a. This is the function name and this is the variable we are sending. This is the function name and variable will be stored in A. This is how we do a definition. Now opens the braces and inside the function what am I doing? I'm saying if A modulus 2 doubles equal to 0, then see out A is even integer, else A is odd integer. We are doing it inside the function. So it is not returning anything. See, there is no return statement. Nothing. The program is. So when there is no return statement, for example, in the previous one we had return product. See, return product. So that's why I wrote here integer. But there is nothing. It's not returning anything. It's just displaying. If it's even, it will display even. If it's odd, it will display odd. It's not returning any value to the main. So let's see how this works. Now, as the loop will run 5 times, it will ask me 5 times. Let's say enter integer 3. 3 is an odd integer. Enter an integer. Let's say 4. 4 is an even. 5. 5 is odd. 8 is even. 9 is odd. That's it. The loop ran 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Because I made it run 5 times. ठीक है, तो लूप को मैंने 5 बार चलाया, तो 5 बार वो चला और 5 बार इस फंक्शन को कॉल किया गया और हर बार इसके बाद फंक्शन में जो था वो रन हुआ. तो फंक्शन में ये डिस्प्ले था, तो ये डिस्प्ले हमने रन किया. Now you you should understand my first point, which I told you, that we are not doing something different. हम कुछ अलग नहीं कर रहे. We are just doing the same logics, how to do a particular task, but we are doing through functions. इनके काम वही हो रहा है. इसमें there is nothing new. If you see if statements, else statements, loops, but the only way is a bit different way to do it, doing through functions. So remember, function is not something new logic or new ways. It's just a different way of doing things. Okay. Now, as patterns are very important, so the lab task 3, I have done these all from the exercise because exercise is actually in your course. This is very easy. Lab task 3 says that write a function that displays at the left margin of the screen, which we already know that it always displays at the left side, a solid square of asterisks whose side is specified in integer parameter side. Now, if you remember our previous lab, we knew that how we are supposed to display a square of asterisks by using nested for loop. If we use two nested for loops and run them equal, then we will get a solid square of asterisks. आपको पिछली बार से याद हो तो अगर हम एक nested for loop इस्तेमाल करें तो हम एक स्क्वायर बहुत आसानी से हासिल कर सकते हैं, अगर आपको याद हो। नाउ अगेन वी आर डूइंग द सेम थिंग। इसमें भी वो हमसे ये कह रहे दैट यूजर, यू आस्क द यूजर whatever number of square he wants. Let's say he wants a square that has 10 into 10, where all the sides are 10, but use a function. So we do not have to do anything new. We know how to make a square out of asterisks, but we will only do it by function. So let's see that how we are changing that program into function. So now see, the name of the function is pattern. It's upon you, you can name it anything, and it does not return anything. Again, it will only display. So we do not write int here, we write void, but it will get a value. The value here, it is specified that whose side is specified in integer parameter side. So you would just send, let's say 10, 20, and then this function should display a square of, let's say 10 side or whatever is inside this integer. Now inside the main, I have declared a variable called size. I have asked the user to enter the side of the square, and it is written here. It will enter into the size. यहाँ पर मैंने size define किया है. यूजर से मैंने कहा है कि आप एक स्क्वायर का साइज इंटर करें, तो जो भी वो साइज इंटर करेगा वो इसमें स्टोर हो जाएगा. एंड देन सिंपली आई एम जस्ट कॉलिंग द फंक्शन. ये फंक्शन कॉल है. आई एम कॉलिंग द फंक्शन, writing the name of the function, and inside I am just sending the size variable to the function, and the remaining is on the function what to do with it. Now here we are, the program is main is finished. Now we will write the definition. Void pattern int a, size will be stored in a. And again, if you remember, we are just running two loops starting from a1 to a. These are the rows, and then this is the child loop starting from 1 to a. And what do you do? Display a star end line. This is how a square is displayed. Now if you remember this, we had done this in the previous lab. पिछली लैब में भी जब हम स्क्वायर करते थे ये दो कर रहे थे. कुछ नया तो नहीं हो रहा है यहाँ पर, but it is just done through proper channel, through a function. We already know that how this nested for loop works. So let's see. Enter the side of the square. Let's say I want a square of 12 sides. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. 12 are the rows and 12 are the columns, and we got this by the nested for loop. Again, it's the same thing. We did display a square in our previous lab, but here we are doing it through the function way. Okay. Let's go to our last lab task, which is again just like the previous one. Even in the question, he says modify the function in the previous task to form the square out of whatever characters the user enters. Now here it says that make a square. Exactly, make a square, but here I was writing star in the C out in commas. The square should be of any character the user enters. So let's see how are we supposed to do that. Now when the user has to enter a value, remember that it will be stored in character. Now this function, I have named it my pattern. It will take integer for the size of the square, but it will also take another variable character in which we will store the character that the user entered. यानी कि यहाँ पर अब हमें दो चाहिए. क्यों? क्योंकि उसने कहा है कि यूजर की जो मर्जी हो आप उस चीज का स्क्वायर डिस्प्ले करें. हाँ, वहां पे तो हमने अपनी मर्जी से स्टार्स का डिस्प्ले किया. यहाँ पर हम यूजर की मर्जी से करेंगे, तो यूजर की जो मर्जी होगी वो इसमें स्टोर होगी. इसलिए ये अगेन उसी की तरह है, लेकिन इसमें सिर्फ दो चीजें हैं. नाउ अगेन द प्रोग्राम इज लाइक द प्रीवियस वन, बट I have also introduced another variable character a. First I ask the user to enter the size. It will be stored in size. Then I ask him that what you want the square to be made of. You want it to be made of stars, you want it to be made of %, or dollar, or any sign. Enter that sign. Whatever the sign user enters will be stored in the character variable a. Now I will call the function. The name of the function, I will first send it the size, and then I will send it the character. So the character will be stored in a, and the integer will be stored in size. Now this is the definition of the function. Again, as this function is not returning any value, it does not have any return statement, so the return type is void. It's only displaying. This is the name of the function, and here the size will be stored in S and the character will be stored in B. But here we also have to declare the variable, so int S character B. Remember, the declaration will be inside the definition here, inside the parenthesis. Now this is the block of the function definition. Again, what we are doing, if you remember from the previous one, in order to display a square, you need two nested for loops, starting from I and going till S, starting from I and going till S. This is the parent loop, this is the child loop. But the only difference between this and the previous one, see the previous one, see out inside the commas, star. Here, see out, and here there are no commas, but we are just directly displaying the character. So whatever is inside this variable will be displayed. यहाँ पे हम क्या कर रहे हैं कि हम तो वहां पे खुद स्टार्स बना रहे थे, यहाँ पे हम डायरेक्टली इस करेक्टर वेरिएबल को ही डाल रहे हैं कि जो भी इसमें है बस आप उसको स्क्वायर की शक्ल में डाल दें। तो ऐसा भी आप कर सकते हैं, एंड ओनली दिस स्मॉल चेंज विल मेक दिस प्रोग्राम very good. So let's see how. Enter the size of the square. Let's say I want a 14 size thing. Enter the character for the square. So what kind of a character? Let's say I want to make the square out of percentage sign. So let's see how. Okay. It made the square out of percentage sign. Why? This percentage was saved in A, and then it was sent to the function through B, and here it displayed B. So this we can have any kind of sign. इस प्रोग्राम की समझ आ गई आप लोगों को? Any questions? Here I have also displayed it. Okay. Let me stop the recording.